It's weird because even if somebody wanted to say something to the doctor or the ref, they can't now because then they'd be fired on the spot.
Yeah, now you have to go to Dana, tell Dana, and then Dana yells at him.
Yeah, it's what do you think about that? So on Friday, Dana came out and he said, after talking about all the different scheduling conflicts that they had and all the stuff they'd have to do, somebody asked him, what do you think about the dispute between Dan Hardy and Herb Dean? And Dana White said, if anyone, including Dan, ever does that again, I will fire you on the spot.
Yeah, but before he said that, he also said that with how that's set up now, how it's like an empty gym with just the commentators and everybody, it's a lot more personal, and you can interact that way in a way that you couldn't before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they definitely are going to have to set up different rules now. But I feel like you should have some kind of order, but at the same time, I feel like in the Dan Hardy instance, I was on Dan Hardy's side.
Yeah, because
When
and I think a lot of people could agree.
yeah, I agree in that situation, but then I also agree that you're supposed to have some kind of order in it where the people who are working for the company are arguing on a live broadcast.
Well, they did a good job during the broadcast because they actually didn't
Yeah,
show Dan Hardy directly confronting Herb Dean. We didn't know
yeah,
about that until after the broadcast, and
hmm
somebody had leaked photos about
yeah.
the dispute.
You could
Um,
kind of hear them say "stop the fight," but that's about as far as it goes.
oh, you can't kind of hear it. You heard it because
I know, but
Dan Hardy stands
I was
up and is
talking
like,
about
"Stop the fight!"
on the live broadcast. It was a little bit different than how the video I saw afterwards.
Yeah. It was just, it was interesting. I mean, talking about that for just a second, really, it's if whoever you choose to side with, you're
Yeah,
entirely justified in doing so. If you believe that, you know, side with Herb Dean because he's the ref, and the ref is like one of the highest officials in that instance, and the call he makes is the call he makes, and nobody should tell him what call he should or shouldn't make. That's
yeah,
fine. That's understandable. But at the same time, you have to recognize that there are plenty of times where the referees drop the ball.
make mistakes. Yeah,
Exactly. Because referees are not infallible. They are
they're just as
human.
human as everybody.
Exactly. They're no different than you or me. Just because they know more about refereeing and they have all that experience does not mean that they can't make mistakes.
Sometimes they have all that experience and knowledge.
Sometimes they don't. Yes,
Yeah,
and with people like Dan Hardy. I mean, for one thing, he has experience as a fighter, and he cares about fighters. He knows what fighters have to go through. So when he sees a guy who is clearly unconscious getting the crap beat out of him and the fight not being stopped when it should have been stopped, he's, in my opinion, justified in
of
shouting
course.
stop and then giving the referee. Should he have been so overly passionate and aggressive after the fact? Probably not. And he probably could have talked to her in a more professional manner
Of course.
to where it wouldn't have escalated to the point where Dana White now has to warn people that if you say anything to the ref at all, you're being fired.
Yeah.
Because now it's created an issue where now nobody can say anything to the ref. And it makes you wonder if you're on the commentating team or you're a fighter, even if you say anything about a referee's decision in passing or as an observation, what does that mean for you? Do you get a slap on the wrist, or is some form of disciplinary action being taken? Because I feel like for a lot of people, they are entitled to say what they're going to say. But like I said, should Dan Hardy have been so in Herb's face about it? Maybe not. But at the end of the day, you have to consider. Yeah, you have to consider that Dan Hardy is, in a way, he's sticking up for somebody who Herb, in a way, kept him from being safe. And when we talk about that Francisco Trinaldo and Herbert fight, even Trinaldo knew the guy was out, and I don't want to keep hitting him. Herb didn't call it when he should have, and we all know that from my perception. I don't know how many other people feel this way. I can understand where Herb was coming from, because in his mind, from the way that Herbert fell when he was stunned and left unconscious and he went stiff, his hand was already in a defending position like this. So when he fell, his hand was still up like this. So from Herb's perspective, it looks like he's still defending himself, even though he has absolutely no idea where he is. And that's understandable.
And he also got hit on the forehead, which people don't usually go to sleep when they get hit in the forehead like that.
Yeah, usually, but we have seen it happen before. And
when you see
someone fall like that.
Yeah. When you see somebody fall like that, but then he also put his hands up. It was all in all, it was just a weird situation that many refs would have messed up anyway.
Right. And there's been plenty of times where referees have called it and it shouldn't have been called off. There's just so many instances where things can go wrong. My biggest concern now is that with Dana White now adopting such a strict policy to where now you can't say anything to the ref, it makes me wonder, does that mean, can you not say anything to the ref the night of? Can you not say anything to the ref outside on social media?
A month later.
Exactly, because I think back to when Colby Covington had that dispute with Mark Goddard after he got TKO'd by Usman. And, I mean, that was immediate, That was the night of. That was after. Covington was extremely displeased. So what does that mean for if something like that were to happen again? What does that mean,
Or give you a better example, when commentators / fighter Dominic Cruz fought and then told that his ref smelled like beer and cigarettes on social media the night of.
Yeah, was that the Cejudo fight?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's another good example. See, for me, it's just one of those things where it could be a potentially slippery slope. Because how many times – yeah, because, I mean, and we assume – and from what Dana White said, I don't think he explicitly said just referees. I think he said any official. And to me, that says referees and doctors. And we all know from past experiences,
people.
Yeah, those pretty much anybody that works there that's not part of the commentating team or any of the corners team. But I mean, we've had so many experiences in the past, like when Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz fought, and a lot of people were, shitting all over the doctor that called that fight.
Yeah.
So if that
not going to happen anymore, apparently.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Bad at their job now.
Yeah, so now it means that nobody can tell you when you've done wrong. It means that now you're infallible for any mistake you make.
Unless Dana White specifically says something.
Yeah, unless Dana White specifically says something. And it brings up my point where it's like now you're giving all the power to the president. First of all, you shouldn't be able to, if someone has a dispute with someone and they feel the need to tell that person about it, I think it should be as simple as let them figure it out amongst themselves at a personal level, and then on a professional level, it can fall to the higher ups and figure out where they go from there. Because I hope Dan Hardy comes back. I don't want to see that broadcast be Dan Hardy's last broadcast. But I do remember last night Dana White specifically said, he had a problem with the doctor not calling the fight in between the rounds for Shavazian. So, I mean, at least I can imagine Dana White being intelligent enough to know when someone's done something definitely wrong. What I don't like about the initial Dan Hardy Herb Dean dispute was that a lot of people were giving Herb Dean a pass just because Dan Hardy said anything at all.
Yeah.
And even Herb Dean initially was playing the bypass game or the brush off game, more of the shifting of the blame to another issue as opposed to addressing the stoppage itself.
Yeah. Noticed that as well.
Yeah, and so that was just pretty bad to me, but yeah, so hopefully this kind of just works itself in time. We'll see if there's any other issues relating to that. But anyway, moving on. We'll